the best. I'm blessed to know that lust is a test. I used to be the victim, now I'm just envisioning. I'm knowing this is.
I'm Susie Landolfi, and welcome to Be Crazy Well. Now, why would a therapist say that? Because we all have mental health struggles, even therapists. The good news is we have so much more information about how we can be crazy well. On my podcast, we don't focus on what's wrong with us. We want to know what happened to us. We're going to explore how trauma affected us, both negatively and positively. That's right. I said positively. It's called post-traumatic growth, and it's a real thing. Be Crazy Well will share mental health wellness practices, the newest mental health research, and most importantly, how we all get to create the person we deserve to be and the life we deserve to live. So join the mental health evolution and be crazy well.
To see within is to know yourself.
So, good morning, everybody. I am here. Wait a minute. I don't know that people listen to this in the morning. It could be afternoon, it could be evening, it could be 3 o'clock in the morning, whenever you listen to a podcast. That's up to you. And I am here with Kathy Murphy, Kathy Turner Murphy, I might add. And I met her years ago. I'm going to let her introduce you and all the amazing things that she does. And you're here at Be Crazy Well because everybody knows, Kathy, that I am a licensed therapist that does believe in crazy. I mean, we just have to have some crazy. And we just have to do it well. And we have to do it in a way that helps us create the person we deserve to be and the life we deserve to live. And Kathy, this podcast that we do is part of Coming Home Well, which does many podcasts. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that as well. So you're kicking off a new series. First of all, I want to hear about what you're doing and how you're running around the world, literally, or at least the United States right now. And she's not running, she's actually driving. And you're going to hear about all the wonderful things that Kathy's doing. And I'm so grateful to be reconnected with you. And then I want you to share a little bit about what your experience was when you were contracted by another nonprofit to work with the VA. I didn't even know that happened. So we're going to start to educate ourselves, all of us, about the VA, the issues and the solutions. I don't talk about issues unless we talk about solutions, because that's the full picture. And I know that about you. You are solution oriented. You don't ever ask anybody to do something you're not doing. You're not a hypocrite. I usually say an effing hypocrite, but I'll try to be nice. I always say I'm a licensed therapist. I get to say the F word, so because I'm licensed. So Kathy Murphy, explain to everybody who you are, what you're doing, and why you're in that beautiful RV right now.
Oh, thank you, Susie. What an honor. I am just grateful that social media, I think we first reconnected on LinkedIn, and then you saw something I posted out on Instagram, and it went from there. And so it's been a while since we connected at Boulder Crest in Virginia. But so yeah, for the last 2 years, my husband and I have been full-time RVing. We actually downsized from 4,000 square feet to 400 in less than 90 days.
So right there, people are going to call you on
The
that.
middle of the pandemic.
They're going to call you on that and go, wait a minute, I don't care about all the other good stuff she's doing. I want to know how she did that, because that's what I want to do. I'm looking at an Airstream right now, so you're my hero. All right, keep going.
No, it's just been an amazing adventure. We decided to do it because our baby graduated from high school, and my husband had already retired from the Air Force. He served 30 years in the Air Force and had moved on to a corporate job for 3 years, and really discovered that he didn't love the culture of that compared to his life in the military.
Shocker. I'm not
And
surprised.
health was declining. I mean, it was hard to watch him go through that, the stress that he was under. I said, this was a pinnacle. Everyone expects to retire and go to corporate and make double the amount that you were making in the military. But I said, no amount of money is worth your health. And, what am I going to do with all this money when you're gone because you've had a heart attack from the stress? No, it's not worth it to me.
Nope.
So we were going to be moving back to Texas anyway, since our kids left, and our son went to college in Texas. Our daughter was moving to Tampa, graduating from college, and we didn't have any reason to stay in a 4,000 square foot home in Virginia by ourselves. And we were getting rid of things. We had a Class C RV we raised our kids in, moved them from cross country during our PCS moves as a military family. And we were sitting on the beach one day, like going, this is amazing. We need to just do this. And we met other full timers. And we decided to go home and talk to a realtor. The whole thing started off with, we're just going to go RVing this weekend to make sure that everything works so we can sell the RV, the Class C. And then it resulted in us buying a 46-foot fifth wheel and a F450 truck and hitting the road. So we're getting ready to have 2 years on the road in October, and it's been phenomenal. And I'll tell you, with the pandemic and the writing that was going on, I just felt a tug in my heart to get on the road and be free, and to not be stuck in my house, and to just be able to go out and love on people as I normally was doing. I wasn't able to invite people to my home anymore during the pandemic, to do healthy living events. I'm really focused on creating support and accountability for people, women who are looking for that. Usually empty nesters. A lot of caregivers are in my community. You referenced me working for the VA through a contract that I was with. And that was probably the beginning of my discovery of my people that I really love to serve. I cared for my dad, who was a Vietnam veteran, and his wife before they passed. And I just realized what a need there was to support caregivers in the community. I had traveled for the VA through it was the National Caregiver Veterans Training Program. And so what I would do is I would go to different VAs on the Eastern Coast and do wellness education for caregivers of our wounded warriors. And although I was a new educator for the community, what I was learning in that process was I had a room full of caregivers who had never met, some of them had never even met another caregiver caring for a wounded warrior.
Wow.
And before I could even do an education on taking care of themselves, I was discovering they needed time to process the fact that they were finally in a room with someone else who understood where they were coming from without having to explain a word, without having to say a thing.
Which is so important even for veterans. I mean, they talk about that all the time at MVP. Like, oh my God, when I walk in the room with a bunch of veterans or a bunch of professional athletes, I feel better already just knowing people in that room have a similar experience.
Exactly. Yes. And I learned a ton in that process. I thought I was going out to educate people on wellness. No, it was a learning process for me. I think fast forward now, 7 years later, I'm still working pretty closely with a lot of caregivers, not just wounded warrior caregivers, but just I feel like God is attracting that community to me to serve them because of my experience caring for my family. I just know that they need someone who can just help coordinate activities that they need for self-care. So I lead a morning workout group on Zoom every day for the last 3 years.
I need it. I'm in. I've been boxing.
It is a beginner's workout on Zoom. I'm not a trainer. My background is in nursing. I was a former labor and delivery nurse. But what I do know as a health coach now, I don't work in the hospital anymore, and I love that I get to travel and do this because it's very flexible and I can do it virtually. And so in the mornings, I get up, no matter what time zone I'm in, I get up so that I can meet my group at the time that they are in.
Wow.
So for me, it's 6:30 Mountain right now. I'm in Colorado, but I have ladies coming in from California to DC, New York, North Carolina. And so they're coming in, zooming in at their time zones, and I just adjust my time accordingly.
So when we post this and we do a little write-up, can we put in how they can sign up?
Sure, they can. Yeah, I'll give you a link for them to get connected with me. And I like to kind of vet that group, because it is a small group, but I'm still open to having other women involved in a group because they need a place that's safe and secure for them. And
Well, vetting is important not only for the people already in the group so that you're bringing people that are going to enhance the group, it's also to make sure that we don't let someone in who would hurt them more than help
right,
them. So it goes both ways with vetting.
exactly. Yeah. So it's been a really awesome community. I mean, very diverse, age-wise, ethnicity, caring. Some are caring for parents who have Alzheimer's and dementia. Others are caring for husbands who have been wounded in the war. We have a spouse who is caring for a husband with Lewy body dementia, which is a pretty extreme
Hmm.
case of dementia. And so there's a lot going on, and they feel like this is a place for them where they can actually do some self care. So the workout is actually a beginner 20-minute. Every month we have a new routine. So every Monday we're doing a lower body routine. Every Tuesday we're doing a lower body stretch with a yoga. Every Wednesday we do a core Pilates. Every Thursday we do an upper body yoga. And every Friday we do an upper body strength. So it's very organized.
Oh, a shocker with you.
but
Why wouldn't it be with you?
and it's 20 minutes, and everyone has told me they have really loved seeing how strong they've gotten, not only physically but mentally, because they have community, and a group that they can talk to.
Consistency, community, safe. You said that word. I mean, that's everything to me. Is
Hmm.
is to be safe. And the idea that you have to be in the gym for an hour and a half every day is just it's not biologically correct. It's not even physically correct. You can actually break yourself down. So that 20 minutes of consistency is, and you're right, emotionally, it changes us. It really does.
It does. It's been a blessing, not only to them, but to me. So,
Well, that's because you're not a hypocrite. I said that to you earlier before we started. Like the medical model, and you know this as a nurse, is, and I know this as a licensed therapist, that I can tell people to quit smoking, quit drinking, and lose 100 pounds. I have the right to do that. And I can go home and smoke a pack of cigarettes, drink a whole bottle of wine, and eat an entire cheesecake myself. And somehow that's okay. And what impressed me about you when I first met you was you do what you ask people to do. You are living the changes, you're living the principles of healthy living. Like you're doing it. And that's also makes you safer, Kathy. And I need to really tell you that's so important. You to be a licensed therapist, you don't have to be well. I hate to say that, but there's a lot of not well therapists. And you do have to pass a test, so you do have to be able to read. But the point is that we need more people that are doing with the people that we're caring for, working with, doing with, not just leading them. It's why leadership has to include followership. Good leadership includes followership, where you follow. Like someday, if you couldn't show up at that class, somebody who's been in that group with you for a long time is going to lead that.
they do.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
And
knew that.
and villains, yes. It's very,
Right.
and I appreciate that, Susie, so much because I do try very hard to walk the talk, but I also want my community to know that I don't live a perfect life. I am always trying to be intentional, that I don't eat perfect every day. And there are ways for me to be intentional, but yet I think that this is what life is about enjoying what we get to do. And so if we can get our exercise in and really educate ourselves on what foods are going to help our bodies function more optimally, get back to basics, that doesn't mean we can't enjoy a glass of wine or a piece of cheesecake. We are going to be able to do that, but maybe we can teach ourselves to use it in moderation and also teach ourselves what happens to our body when we decide we are going to have those things. Is
Right.
that
What
going
to
to impact how
expect
we,
after
yep,
the,
is it
yeah,
going to
there's going
impact
to
how
be
we
some,
feel?
right, right.
Yeah. And to really teach people how the abnormal is not normal. Like some people do come to me thinking that it's just age that they should feel aches and pains and headache and brain fog and loss of memory, when in reality, it's probably an imbalance in their blood sugars and they're just not fueling their bodies properly. And when we can help them to do that consistently and regularly, they realize, I feel amazing, you know. But yet I can still have a piece of cheesecake, and maybe they won't want it anymore because they've discovered how great they feel without it.
Right.
So,
Right.
we have a lot of conversations, real talk,
So do you do more workshops on that? Tell me what else you do and how that helps with living well.
Yes. So I am a part of a community. We call ourselves a Healthy Living Revolution community. I host twice a month. I host a support and accountability Zoom for our community to come and learn about 10 healthy habits, because we know from the science that these particular 10 healthy habits really do help our bodies work more optimally. And they're things that are not super secrets. They're things that we all know we should be doing. Eat more fruits and vegetables, drink more water, move your body more, get good sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. We have some guidelines around how much water, how much sleep, how much fruits and vegetables, how much, de-stressing do we need to do. There's other things that we talk about, like anti-inflammatory foods to cut out of your diet, or things that
That's
are
huge. That
yeah.
inflammation is sort of the basis for most autoimmune. So you're absolutely, and that means we're too hot. It means we're running too hot. That's what inflamed means,
Exactly.
right? And that can be physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually.
Correct. Yes, and we really talk about taming the flame of inflammation.
I love that. I'm going to steal that. Let me write that. Hang on. Taming the flame.
Yeah.
Wait, is that going to be the title of your book?
Maybe I need to.
Oh my God, I would buy that book. Because it is physical and emotional. They work hand in hand. And when you feel better physically, then your emotions. And when you feel better emotionally, it helps you physically. And to think that we aren't putting those two together or we haven't for a long time because of specialists, it's just not true. Like they have to be, they're the wonderful twins. They're connected.
Right, right. We do need to really focus on the holistic of our body and our life, mentally, physically, and spiritually. All of that is very connected financially.
Oh,
those
I was just going to say, see, this is why I adore you so much. I was just going to go, financially. And I use financially because that's the first resource that we worry about the most. Now in California, it's water. So people don't realize that when I say financial, I mean all of your resources. And if you don't manage your resources, I'm helping my grandson now understand that if you spend all your money, you won't have any money for gas the rest of the week. So you might want to manage your resources. So that's really important. So thank you for bringing that up. Most people don't want to talk about that. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it is probably the number one thing, like you said. Money mindset has been a big challenge for people for generations,
Yeah.
and I had a lot of issues with that and had to work through it, even in business.
Yeah.
And it's made a huge difference in how I live my life and where I invest my money for my health
Right.
and for, our lifestyle. People can say, oh gosh, to eat healthy is too expensive, but
I
what
hear
is
that
the
all the
price of your
time.
health?
Well, that's it. You're going to make it up, in other areas and so many other areas, which isn't true. I found that when I eat healthy, especially stuff I like, I always ask people to find healthy things they like so they're not forcing kale down their throat. If they don't really like it, then don't. Go find something else. I eat less. So I eat every 2 hours, roughly, because I'm with horses, so they graze 20 hours a day. So I figured, oh, well, look how good they look. And they're strong and healthy and they're not overweight. I'm going to start grazing. So I literally eat every 2 hours something great that I like. And I notice my blood sugar, all that stuff stays.
Utilizes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's been
And
important to
eating
me.
whole, your body knows what to do with fruits and veggies. Like
Yeah,
that's what your horses are eating, is greens. And
that's right.
actually got to go horseback riding a couple of weeks ago while we were in Alpine, and my husband got to ride oh gosh, what is the name of this? The Budweiser
Oh, Clydesdale.
Clydesdale.
Clydesdale. That's a draft horse. They're called not draft beer because draft meaning workhorse, and they're huge, and they're called gentle giants. So, and you must have loved. I mean, when you're up in that horse and you've got 2,000 pounds moving underneath you, it's amazing. I love draft horses.
Yes, to watch him climb the mountain that we were climbing, and had just had we had a downpour of rain.
So it's
So
kind
this
of
horse
muddy.
was working hard, and he was sliding, and I was a little concerned because my horse loved him and was wanting to be right up against him. I'm like, you need to give him some space. That was amazing experience.
So, how do people get in touch with you? Like, how do you have private clients? How does the veteran community, specifically the caregivers and or reach out to you? How does that work?
Yeah, I am on Instagram, Healthy on the Go, and I'm on Facebook, Kathy Turner Murphy. And for your show notes, I can send you a link to my link tree so that you
Okay.
can learn more. And I have some free resources in there, recipes, and just some other things that people can get started with their own health journeys.
I really was joking with you about people calling you about how to go RVing. And Kathy, I look at wellness very broadly, whatever works for you, and to explore new things. I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to ask you, like, wow, my husband and I, we talk about doing what you did, but we don't know how to start. What were some of the things that you learned about downsizing and about getting into this RV? What were some of the things and issues you had to deal with, and the things that were really important? Like, you've got a lot of wonderful experience these last 2 years about this healthy living in an RV.
Yes, and I posted today. So just also we have an Instagram, Murphy's on the Move. So after every word is an underscore, Murphy's underscore on
Okay.
underscore, and same with Healthy on the Go. There's an underscore between the words. But I posted today. So I shared a post that someone had said, happiness is a choice. And so in RVing, and I said this to you in a message today when I thought I was going to have to cancel because of our RV situation. So the story today was we were taking the RV, 46-foot rig, 24,000 pounds, being pulled by an F-450. Just imagine the work that gets involved of getting it ready to go. And we're ready to deliver it to this service center for work, and they call us and say, oh, we made a mistake in our schedule. We cannot take you today. We don't have room for your big rig.
All right, so you have to be flexible.
Flexible.
There is definitely a practice of being flexible here.
Flexibility and just really choosing how we're going to respond versus react to situations. And we had a lot of practice in that because I was like, I was impressed with my husband not exploding on the phone because he's driving this thing. And he's like, I gotta turn this thing around and go back home. But you know what? This is life. We are hit with unexpected situations all the time. And I think the best thing that I was able to learn in my 50 years, it took me a while. And that's because I get to work with people like you and, really surround myself with people who have the mindsets that I want to grow into. Learning that responding, practicing how to respond to situations versus react to situations, I think really is a healthy way to manage our lifestyles and to just be able to laugh at things that, might otherwise have caused us huge anxiety and anger and frustration.
Right.
That's a choice too. And so when we can just choose to go, okay, things happen.
Yeah, I get to do that podcast with Susie now because we weren't able to do this because you were going to be on the road. So I was the recipient, and everybody who's listening to this got a gift today because of what happened for you. And I'm sorry, except that I'm happy at the same time that I got to do this with you. I want to shift gears just a little because, like I said, we're just starting out this series on the VA, and we're talking to lots of different people around the country. Like I said, customers, like to call them customers. Like, I think of that way when you are serving someone, and certainly people who work there and have worked there. So you told me something I didn't realize, that the Easter seals are huge. I mean, I grew up with Easter seals. a huge nonprofit, national nonprofit, actually had a contract with the VA. Tell me about your experience of not actually being hired by the VA, being hired by Easter Seals, but working with the VA. What did you notice that were issues, and what are some of the solutions that you also see as being someone, and your husband uses the VA, is that correct?
He is a veteran. We don't use it as often as I mean, luckily he stays very healthy.
Right.
But we know we have that service when we're ready and needing it. So, yeah, this was back in 2013 when I received a call saying they were looking for nurses and social workers to go out and do wellness education for caregivers of our wounded warriors. And then I discovered it was a contract through the Easter Seals, and it was actually a lovely program. I was highly impressed with how they trained us. They brought us into DC every year.
They being the VA?
The Easter Seals.
Easter Seals. So Easter Seals trained you to go into the VA to do this with customers of the VA. Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. So then but it was a partnership. So the VA leadership would come in as well. And then we had partnerships with other organizations like the Elizabeth Dole Foundation sent representatives to really educate us on the needs of the caregiver. And I really loved the whole model was amazing. And I love the education that we got to go out and do this education for our caregivers. And it lasted for about 2 years and the funding got cut.
So there's one of the issues, right? And so because the VA gave the money to Easter Seals, or Easter Seals might have even raised the money to and then partner with the VA. So the VA depends on partnerships, and it depends on people who are not necessarily working full time for the VA to come in and do adjunct additional. Is that true? Supports it.
I believe I don't know all the financial aspects.
Okay.
They paid us very well to travel. Very well. My husband would take leave sometimes so that I could go and do my job because we would get a schedule, who's available to travel on these days to these locations. Because if we were flying, we were gone for a full day, maybe 2 or 3 days, depending.
And where were the locations? Where did you actually do this work? At a VA?
Yeah, oftentimes it was in the VA hospital in a community area. Sometimes it was off-site at a local restaurant or, wherever their caregiver support coordinator for that particular VA could coordinate the facility for us. We would go.
I think, and now I'm hearing that as a solution that, first of all, you're supporting the VA outside the VA as well as inside the VA. So now people are getting wellness support in a restaurant as well. Like you were able to do this. And so it puts a very different picture on the VA for me specifically, and I think for others. And it helps me understand that the VA wants to bring in people from the community. They want a partnership, and we need more of that, and how that helps. Is that true? Does that make sense for you? Did you enjoy that partnership?
It makes sense to me, and I did. I love that partnership, and I was very sad, along with all of our educators. We're really sad that it was going away. It was about funding, so that funding got cut, and they were bringing that piece into the VA. So their contracted nurses and social workers that worked at the VA, who also were the caregiver support coordinators, were now going to be responsible for the work that we were doing.
Okay.
Which I think was a big, sometimes when that happens, even as a nurse, the caseload can get really heavy, and then you really lose the personal connection that really needs to happen because they are in charge of so many people and so many programs that many of the caregiver support coordinators would say, I'm so grateful you're here and I love this program. I love that someone else is coming in to do it because then that lets them coordinate all of the other things. They're taking the registrations, they're putting together packages for the program. And so it becomes more of a team effort. But the way I understood it was now part of their team was being removed, and they're now responsible for more of it.
Right. You know, I work as a contractor for a treatment center that I actually was the clinical director for many years ago. And when I moved back here from Virginia, they wanted me to come over. And so now I'm the elder and I get to go over having helped build the whole treatment center. And the full-time therapists come up to me every day. I'm only there Tuesdays and Thursdays for a few hours. They come up to me all the time and say, they're full-time. They say, we're so glad you're here. You bring in a different perspective. You bring in energy. You help lessen the day-to-day weight of what it is that I have to do with these wonderful people who are there getting well. And I don't think we ever think about that. And I think the VA deserves, and I'm going to say this, the people that work at the VA full-time deserve you. They deserve to have people come in. I literally give respite to the full-time staff there, and I bring in an energy that is hard to maintain when you're full-time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they're caring for caregivers.
Yeah.
Caregivers of caregivers, and yes, it's a team effort for sure.
Yeah.
And
And it's the hybrid. It models the hybrid that's so important to me. So I'm a civilian, and what it models for me, what we did at Boulder Crest and other places that I've worked, is we have to find a way to bring veteran and this civilian community together as a hybrid, so that you're never not going to be military, and you're never going to be 100% civilian, even though most people started as a civilian, even if you grew up in a military family. And so what we need to do is to understand how important it is to have that step process into the community, right? I mean, am I wrong on that? Is that important to understand and experience?
I think, collaboration in everything is really important.
Yeah.
And, personal collaboration, business collaboration, but when you're supporting community, the more you can involve others in the collaboration of support, I think the more rich it becomes, the more
Right.
full it becomes, and the experience becomes more dynamic and purposeful.
One of the things I love about what you do, and I actually changed the spelling of two words in my life, we talk about empowerment, EM, and giving people permission and cheerleading them and to have their own voice, like to be the team leader of their wellness, that they have to be the leader. They may not know everything yet of how they're going to do it, and to have that voice, that with the minute they walk into a situation where they're going to learn more about how to be well, how to be crazy well is what I do. Okay. We have to help them have a voice. So that means I can't be the expert of them. They get to be it. So my job is to help bring out. So I spell empowerment, INPOWERMENT. It's already in you. I can't give you something. You have power in you. My job is to just acknowledge it and encourage you to bring it out, to utilize it, and then for me to honor it. That's all I get to do, is I get to acknowledge it and honor it and keep encouraging you to be, or encourage, again, IN, you're encouraged at that time, and to enjoy it. Enjoy, IN, be in the joy, not passive.
I love that.
Yeah, so those are all words that mean a lot to me, because I want to be more active in my own wellness and that's what you do, Kathy. You are encouraging them to be courageous in their own wellness. And whoever walks into any VA, my thoughts are there should be a concierge person that greets you. And I'm sure this is true in some of the VAs, saying, hello, so-and-so, like, we're so happy you're here to be the team leader of your wellness today. Right? I mean, to remind people that it is up to them and that it's in them already. Does that make sense? Could that be something that...
Absolutely. I love that. That's a great mindset. And I think the more we can encourage people to be intentional with their words, that really does impact them from inside.
So intention already has the IN, to be in it, to be in your own attention.
Right.
right?
Exactly. You're onto something. That's Susie.
All right, okay. Well, I want you to know that I am working out, which is good. So I'm boxing with
I know,
George
I see
Foreman.
those guns.
Yeah, all right. I'm boxing with George Foreman's son, and he has just been wonderful, and his whole staff have
Oh,
been
wow.
terrific. And I've learned a lot. And I joke all the time. I say one of the great things about boxing is you never learn how to beat yourself up. There is no right cross to your own chin. There is no jab to your own stomach. So that metaphor of the fact that you're not actually beating someone else up, you're just training, but you're never going to train to either take a punch, right? You're bobbing and weaving and all of that. So you're avoiding the punch and you never hit yourself. Don't hit yourself.
Right.
So I love that metaphor of it. It has been such a pleasure. We're going to plaster all the notes when we put this podcast up next Monday about how they can get in touch with you. So be careful. Like you'll be on the road and your husband will be driving, or you might be driving. You'll be going, oh, holy crap! Here comes all these emails and texts. I know people are going to contact you.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. However I can help, I feel like I have been richly blessed, and I just enjoy paying it forward.
Terrific. Bless you, Kathy Murphy, and your wellness. Tell me the names of the two sites again. It's On the Move to Wellness. No, what is it?
So on Instagram, healthy underscore
Yeah.
on underscore the underscore go. Healthy on the go is
Healthy on the Go. I love that.
Healthy
Yeah.
on the go. Is Kathy Turner Murphy. That's my page that I really focus. All my talk is about helping women who want to feel better and prevent or stay off of medications.
Okay.
That's really what I focus on.
Great.
And Murphy's On the Move is where we talk mostly about our travels, where we're going, and maybe some challenging situations that happen in our travels.
That's
So-
great. All right.
And I'll share with you a link for your show notes so that people can.
Bio picture. Give us that picture of where you are on the go for as well. We need all of that.
Absolutely.
Bless you, Kathy. So great to reconnect. That was something that is such a gift, and I can't thank you enough. The minute I saw you, I was like, oh, I love that woman.
Aw.
I love that woman. I want to reconnect.
Thank you.
All right.
I love you too. This has been a pleasure.
All right, you take care.
Love yourself.